Hello.
Hello, everybody. This is Joe Larson and Chuck Schultz. You're watching the 505 on Racing Show. Tonight, we got results out of Kansas for the Cup and the trucks and the ARCA Menard Series. We also have the Whelen Modified results out of the Stafford Motor Speedway in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, plus other NASCAR news and racing news as we go on when we come back.
Inravio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Kansas Speedway out in Kansas.
There's no place like home.
No place like home. Click your heels.
For some reason, every time I hear Kansas, I always think of that.
I think of Carry On Wayward Son when I hear Kansas.
Yeah, it's my second. You know, you think that would be my first, right?
Anyway, you know, it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's one of those cookie cutter racetracks that I am not too fond of. The mile-and-a-half jobs, and what they do is they don't even lift there. It's flat-footed all the way around.
They just stay on it.
You know, so get rid of restrictor plates. And,
Yeah, it's just like a Phoenix where you stay on it all the way around.
Yeah, you know, you're not even lifting for the corners. But anyway, they had some ongoings at the Kansas Speedway, and we got some results coming out of Kansas, coming right up here. Yeah, what do we got?
It was a busy race, right?
Here we go, the Menard Series, the ARCA Menard Series. Ty Gibbs pictured there with the win there, followed by Drew Dollar. Corey Heim was third, Jack Wood fourth, Derek Griffith fifth, Thad Moffitt sixth, Greg Van Alst seventh, Kyle Sieg eighth, Nick Sanchez ninth, and rounding out the top 10 would be Alex Clubb. So a good run there for Ty. And then we had the next set of results coming up. The NASCAR Cup Series. Kyle Busch was the winner there on his birthday. Kevin Harvick was second. Brad Keselowski from the pole finished third. Matt D. Benedetto was fourth. Chase Elliott fifth. Martin Truex Jr. sixth. Tyler Reddick seventh. Chris Buescher eighth. William Byron ninth. And Austin Dillon rounding out the top 10. Kansas, like I said earlier, it's a cookie cutter racetrack to me. It's just, you know, it's a mile and a half. It looks like any other mile and a half, like Texas, Chicagoland, you know, places of that nature. And it's like, I don't know, it's different.
Well, I mean, most of the guys that raced it are not like really enamored with racing there. It's not like, yeah, okay, we got to go to Ebbville. Big deal.
Yeah, got to go to Kansas.
So you change the gear and you go there and flat-footed all the way around.
All around. And I noticed that, you know, you're watching a race, and when you're watching it, as a group, you don't really hear that. But they had the in-car with Hamlin for quite some time, who again led a lot of laps and didn't have anything to show for it.
Didn't finish it at the end.
No.
He does that a lot though lately.
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is. You really need to make that happen.
Yeah, and there wasn't even a burp when he was going. There just wasn't even a burp. He just flat-footed all the way out, and.
Well, it was pretty involved. I mean, there was some things that came out of there, right?
Yeah, but you know, it's watching the race, and again, he continues to dominate races, and then it gets to the end. They made that last pit stop. He had some, fresh tires, and even the announcers were saying that, He's got the newest tires out there, and eventually they're going to go. He can't be driving the way he's driving. And I would think a driver of his caliber, with the experience he has, would know not to beat up on your tires with
You save them if you got
10 laps to go.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's just how it goes. And in the series, in the Cup Series, that was their 11th race, and it was their 10th different winner. Now, there's a boatload of races to go. And when it comes to the playoffs, to be in the playoffs, you have to have a win. there's a possibility if things keep going the way they're going, because there's some.
He could lead the most laps and not be in the playoffs.
Well, not only not being in the playoffs, but they take the top 16 and put them in the playoffs. If you have a win, you're automatically in the playoffs. What if there's
17 people with that one? And what do you do then?
Is there a provision for that? I looked. I couldn't find one.
Is there a laps led after that?
Total points? Because
Yeah,
I
something,
read
right?
it today. I read it today, and all it said was to have a guaranteed, that word was in there, spot in the playoffs, you need to win a race. They get 16 spots. 18 guys win a race. What do they do?
2 guys are out? Oh, that would suck.
The rule says win a race, you're in the playoffs. I don't get it.
That would not work out well.
But you know, they do change the rules, NASCAR. They do change the rules to fit the situation, just like the year that Jeff Gordon didn't make the playoffs, and then they changed the rules and let Jeff Gordon in, or the year that the champion, well, I shouldn't say the champion, one of the Bush brothers missed a third of the season,
Right.
but they put him in the playoffs. So they can make rules and change rules as they go.
Well, you know, there's so many different things. One thing for sure, if you make a rule, and you put it in a NASCAR rule book,
Right.
something's going to come up that's going to be like, we didn't think about that.
Yes. Yes.
It's always going to be. It's like, you know, you keep massaging it to try to get it right. It's just there's so many things going on there.
And you know, and I think I said
can't even
this
imagine.
a couple of weeks ago, and please, NASCAR, no offense, but when you have guys sitting at the big table making decisions that never raced before, never owned race cars, making these kind of decisions, they don't realize the impact of what their decisions are gonna
Make on this sport.
Exactly.
But you know, still, I mean, how many people can sit down and go, we didn't think of that? I mean, come on, there's so many different little looks and crannies here.
and
you can't think
scenarios,
about.
yep.
You know, they come a long way from that napkin at the hotel where they wrote down the rules, right? And so this is what we're going to, this is how the points are going.
Yeah, with a 30-page rule book, it was pretty simple.
Yeah, that
simple
changed-
now.
that changed a lot,
You,
yeah.
you need a lawyer to interpret the rules.
Exactly.
You need a lawyer to interpret the rules.
Now
But
it's a totally different.
Totally different.
I'm wondering, do they hand out new napkins at the beginning of the year so everybody knows what the rule
yeah,
changes
yeah.
are?
Oh yeah. Oh, you got to admit it.
Here's your napkin. Figure it out.
You know, but anyway, next week there'll be at Darlington, the Cup, the Xfinity, and the Camping World Truck Series.
That's
will be
always
at
a
the
fun race,
Darlington. Oh yeah, it's always, and for the Cup, it's throwback races. So they're going to have the cars.
Are they gonna have the Super Bee?
No.
No.
Well,
They're just gonna skin them.
Yeah, they're gonna, with decals.
They're gonna, yeah.
It'd be interesting to watch, you
They're
know.
just gonna
but-
paint them up to look like,
Yeah.
or vinyl them up to look like, Richard Petty's. Whatever.
There you go. Yep. Richard Petty's car. The Wood Brothers car. I saw some of the
cool.
cars, and they look pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looked pretty cool.
Every time the Wood Brothers name comes up, I always think about that pit stop ballet that they did, and it was a
Yes.
big deal where they were able
Yes.
to do a pit stop in a minute. Remember that?
And
in under a minute.
And the gas tank, they had to pull down the license plate cover to put the
to
fuel
put the
thing
fuel in, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, they would pick up the jack and like do a spin before they went around the other side of the car to jack
Yep.
the other side of the car. Remember that? It was unbelievable.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. That was fun, right?
Racing was different.
The pit stop ballet. Yeah.
The drivers raced the cars. They weren't just standing on the gas pedal and
Hey,
turning.
do we sound old now or what?
You know?
Do we sound old?
We are old. You know, it reminds like when I was a
Hey,
kid.
wait a minute. Speak for
We are.
yourself.
When I was a kid, I remember going to Ice Speedway with my grandfather, my Lord rest his soul. He would bring me to races, and there was always these two old guys that said, because you're sitting in the same spot every week, you know, that's your seat. It's unofficial, but it's your seat. And they were sitting there, and they had their Elmer Fudd hats, and they had their flannel shirts. And
Those are the
coats.
guys from the Muppets.
Yeah, yeah. And they would say, you know, remember, hey, Jim, back in our day, they did. And I said to myself, I'm never going to be those guys.
You're that guy.
I'm not. I am.
I know you are.
I am. I can't believe this.
You are absolutely that guy.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
It comes. After you spend this much time and, you know, things change that much, it happens, right?
You know, and stuff does happen. But, you know, and But back in those days too, at this what they call Grand National level, they weren't cookie cutter racetracks.
Well,
They were all different.
they didn't have a choice but to be different because they probably didn't have a tape measure back then.
Yeah.
Some guy went out there with his farm tractor and dug a hole.
Dug a
and
hole.
said, this is where we're going to race.
They were racing there, and then somebody decided, let's put some asphalt on this, and before you knew it,
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. How many dirt races were back then as opposed to today, right?
they raced all year. I think they took 2 weeks off so they can go home because they didn't fly to the races and have haul the drivers
No.
going across the country. It was
But they were racing on the beach, on sand.
if you got tired, you go jump on the beach.
But they're racing on sand. Do they have special tires for that? And then they're onto the blacktop.
And then on A1A, for a mile.
Right, yep.
No, I don't know.
See, that I would like to see that, just an exhibition race. You can't do a points race like that, but that would be fun to see, wouldn't it? I think that would be fun. And they had the convertibles out there. I mean, wow.
And it's funny.
That
when
took something.
You look at the convertible class. You saw what the drivers. I mean, all they did was cut the roof off because they were stock cars. They were stock cars. So you saw what they were doing.
Right out of the showroom.
Yeah, right out of the showroom.
Well, I mean, that's, we've said that for years. Pull the restrictor plates off of these things. Let's see how fast they can go.
Yeah.
Very unsafe.
Yeah, I'm looking at the.
Be a nice thing to see, but it was very unsafe.
Jay Slice has mentioned here that there was no yellow flag with a tire in the grass for 20 plus laps until the 1747 pitted to complete their green flag pit stop. They explained that. I didn't buy the explanation. They said that at that point in the racetrack, there is a large amount of grass from pit road to the racing surface. In fact, even though it was only a 1.5 mile track, the largest grass area infield in all of the NASCAR tracks, including Daytona and Talladega. So that's why they didn't do it, according to what the announcers said, Mike Joy and Larry Mack. What they said, and in regards to that's why they didn't call it. And that's not a rule interpretation. Failure to control a tire. There's not a little asterisk and you go, let me go to the back of the book and it says, except when there's a lot of grass.
Except when there's a lot of grass, right?
No. Failure to control the tire is failure to control the tire. So, you can't make the rules as you go along, and that's one of the things that.
No, hey, if it breaks off,
Right.
is that still a penalty?
No. But if you take the tire off and you do your thing and then you take the tire, now somebody's supposed to take that tire, wheel it to the wall.
Right. If they don't and it gets loose,
And it
failure
gets
to control
loose.
the tire in the pits.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, if a tire comes off on the track for one reason or another,
Yeah, that's considered.
That's considered an accident.
Yeah. And somebody wants to know
Victim of
if
circumstances.
we're having a beard growing contest.
Why is my beard really long?
I don't think it's long. Me neither. Somebody told me I look scruffy the other day. I don't think I do.
Why didn't you have a beard last week? I didn't even notice.
I did. But you can't see the sides because it kind of blends in. But you see this white patch here, and then your darkness on this side and this side. It's almost like I have a kind of like a Fu Manchu, but that I messed up shaving here because you really can't see it.
Well, when you mess up shaving, you just shave the whole thing off, start again.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Mr. Slice, we're not having a beard growing contest. We're having a show about racing that we like to talk racing, and
While we're wearing beards.
while we're wearing beards. We're not sponsored by Schick or Five Guys Razors.
Is there such a thing as Five Guys Razors?
Yeah.
Is
I think
it?
it's called Five Guys.
Isn't that the hamburger joint?
No, I think I forget because I get them. You get like an unlimited
Well,
supply.
apparently you're not using them. The hell are you paying for them for? then?
Because I don't know. They come. I don't even remember ordering them. I don't know. Anyway, hey, we got a little update here. Rafael Lazaro Racing just announced today, the interruption of his participation in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. He blames COVID-19 restrictions. It did not allow the team to move forward with their strategies needed to secure funding during their 2020 search and 2021 season. Now, his truck is owned by GMS Racing, and the team owner stated shortly thereafter, due to unfortunate circumstances, Rafael Lazaro will no longer compete in the number 24 truck for GMS Racing for the remainder of the 2021 season. Then you look at the entry blank or the entry list for Darlington. The GMS number 24 truck has entered this week's race at Darlington with Ryan Reed listed as the driver. So I had to dig a little deeper. He had to step out because he basically kind of bought the ride.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say Ryan Reed probably paid the vig, and he's in.
And he's in.
Yeah.
The guy with the money is the guy that's in.
Sure.
So, it'd be interesting to find out what really went on there, but I'm thinking that's what the deal was. He made a promise.
Couldn't come
He
through.
blamed COVID for last year, because what you find in sponsors last year helps you for next year,
Sure, absolutely.
and that didn't happen.
Well, I mean, if you're a driver who wants to get a ride and you happen to get a ride for a special fee, whatever it is, it's
Yeah.
a pay-to-play type of a thing. I mean, that's the kind of world we're living in. People don't like that, but that's
Exactly.
the world we're living in. So if you're buying the ride, you're buying the team and the support of the team and what have you,
Exactly.
the cars, what have you, then it's up to you to come up with the money. Now, whether you come up with a sponsor or not to put on that ride, that's great. That's less money out of your pocket.
Absolutely.
But hey, if you got enough money and you want to just plunk down, this is the number, plunk it down, let's go racing, and who cares if there's a name on the car or not?
Yeah.
You know, put your best friend's name on the car.
Okay,
You-
right. How many of those things, those trucks and cars, and especially in the Xfinity and the Campbell Truck Series, go out sponsorless? Because the guy that's in the seat paid for the ride.
Pay for the ride, yeah. I mean, because ultimately the bottom line is, how do you get a sponsor for those things?
Yeah.
And that's a full, like I said before. I mean, we've said on the show 1,000 times. You need a full-time person to worry about your sponsors
You do.
if you're really going to go that way.
You really do.
But once you go from this, which is, hey, I'm having fun going to my Saturday night track, and all you're doing is paying to play because you've got your own car, or you're got somebody who owns the car and you're giving them some dough, or you got a deal with them where you're running it and they're getting the money, or whatever the case may be. It's still the same thing on a smaller scale.
It is.
But it's a pay-to-play thing. It's a sport. Ultimately it's a sport. It's a pay-to-play thing. And until you get into the big leagues where you can, you have somebody who's a full-time person, they have companies that actually will find you people to sponsor your cars, and they'll take a percentage, and it's based on how well you're doing and how much, airtime you get and all the rest of that. And I'll tell you what, I never did it for racing, but I can tell you I've done it with other things. And when you go from, hey, I'm just having a blast here, having fun, doing what I'm doing, and then you go to do it for pay.
Right. It's a whole different
ballpark. Take some fun right out of it, man.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the news and some things good and not so good that are going on in the NASCAR community when we come back.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey,
we're
what's
set
oh,
up.
I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're set it up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
Hey, welcome back. Take virtual lessons with Village Music Shop's online university, and be safe, have fun, play some music. They have lessons for all ages and all styles and levels, from beginner to advanced, as well as classes to become a recording engineer, music production, and learning how to be a DJ. So go to Village Music Shop. The link is in the chat, or call 1-800-HEY-DUDE and get started today.
Yeah, there you go. Here's something that we've talked about is being addressed and looked at. Plans for a roof of the Bristol Motor Speedway continue, according to Ernie Stackson's column in Area Auto Racing News, my 2 cents worth. Architects estimate the cost to be in the area of $80 million to put a retractable roof, which will not, from what I understand, not totally enclose the arena, but enough to keep the fans dry, the track dry, but also enough to allow the sound to dissipate and the fumes to dissipate. So this is something that we've talked about.
We talked about this several times.
Why can't they do that? So it'd be interesting to see. I don't see that happening for 2022, but I do see that
in the future. There's a possibility in the future. I mean, I mean, you have a product to deliver, and when you got people that are going home early because they got to get to work or they got plans, and
exactly.
We talked about it at length, but it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. NASCAR, everything they're doing to try to help out.
Yeah.
It's tough. And it's all good stuff. Whatever they can do to make that move.
Yeah. Hey, in our excitement, the last segment, I overlooked the Camping World Truck Series results. So we're going to do those now.
Okay.
We had the winner there, Kyle Busch. Ross Chastain was second, Austin Hill third, Christian X was fourth, John Hunter Nemechek fifth, Todd Gilliland sixth, Zane Smith was seventh, Rafael Lessard eighth, his last race in the 24 truck.
Right.
Johnny Sauter ninth, and Ben Rhodes rounding out the top 10. So sorry about that, folks. For those of you who are sitting there, what about the trucks? We got the trucks. Anyway. Also, again, last week, NASCAR President Steve Phelps announced a new partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of America. This is an attempt to grow new fans and expand the brand of both organizations. So that should be interesting, involving the Boys Club and Girls Club. And I remember the commercials when I was a kid on TV.
I do.
You know,
yeah, I remember.
Help the Boys Clubs of America today and make yourself a better USA type of thing.
Right, yep.
Well, NASCAR's involvement with that, I think, is big. Many of those who know me, that when I competed here on Long Island, that we were sponsored by Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Long Island. In fact, I wore that shirt today for some reason. And it created an awareness, and we showed up and at Big Brother and Big Sister events with the race car. The kids got all excited because a lot of these kids, they wouldn't know the difference between a cup car, a modified car, or an enduro car.
To them, it was a race car.
It's a car with bars and a number on the door.
It's a race car.
Yeah, it's a race car.
Yep.
So we had a lot of fun with that.
That was probably the best part about me racing, was at the end of the night when the parents used to come in with the kids,
Yep.
and they'd get in the car. We'd take their pictures and sign the pictures for them.
Yep.
It's funny, I forget who it was that came in here, but we're talking, what are we talking, 20-something years ago now, and somebody came in here and says, my son still has that picture from 20-something years ago that you gave him sitting in the car.
So does my son.
Oh, your son too?
Yeah.
Still got that picture I gave him
Still
sitting in
has
the car?
it, sitting there.
There you go.
Stuff like that.
And you know what? That's great that you can make a difference in somebody's life like that, that it's
Right.
that important and it's that fun.
Oh, without
You know
doubt.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome.
It is.
How can you beat that?
You can't. And I know with just one of the things that our sponsor wanted, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, is they wanted her to sit on like a director's stool or the back of the car and have a stack of pictures, sign them, give them away, stuff.
Right. Right.
And as much as, to my daughter, she was, Dad, do I have to? She got so into it once they started coming, and especially when the teenage boys would come, oh my God, sign my shirt, and they get all excited. And she realized what it was all about, that there's people paying money to watch you race, whether it's the entry level or the top level. Those people aren't going there so they can talk to their buddy next to them.
That's it. That's just like Smokey and the Bandit with Burt Reynolds, right? I'm paying him $25 a day for his loyal fans to see him. And that's exactly it. But you know what? With me, I thought that, I could have got pictures and signed them. And, a lot of drivers did that. And I don't know, don't knock them. But I thought, how great would it be to have a picture of the person, the kid in the car, and I'll just sign that. Because it's really not about me.
Because you had that thing.
The Polaroid cameras.
I couldn't remember.
I did the Burchett thing. Yeah, I had it, right? So I just found those. I was cleaning up, and I found the 3 of them. We had 3 of them. We used to rotate them around, And those things were $1 a pop for the pictures. And you know what? I had camera places that didn't want to sponsor me for the price of pictures. I'm like, give me 400.
We just had this talk.
Give me 400 pictures. I mean, what are we talking about?
Right.
And let me show you what the naiveness is. Is that even a word, naiveness?
We'll make it a word.
Okay, we'll make it a word. So I'm not going to say who it was, but I said to this guy, and everybody watching is you're gonna smash your computer when you hear this, but not the good part. You still got to watch this. So he says to me, I said, listen, give me 400 pictures. I'll put you on the front of the car there, on the front car right by the wheel there. I'll give you a nice spot there. He says, that's a lot of money, $400, right? He goes, a lot of the cameras and stuff I sell are high-end stuff. I don't think the people that race could afford the cameras I sell. And I said, some of these people come to the track with $100,000 haulers. And that was at the time, we're talking 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
I says, I think they could probably afford any camera you could sell.
Yeah.
And I walked out.
Yeah.
That was like a slap in the face right there.
It's funny when you say that, and those in my tight-knit circle knew I had a little bit of involvement with the UPS deal in NASCAR. And I can remember going with some marketing people down to corporate headquarters, and we were kind of talking about it. And we were saying, NASCAR fans are brand loyal, your competitors are starting to get into it, freight companies, integrated couriers, why not? Why not give it a shot? So one guy sits back and he says, how much are we gonna get from some guy wearing coveralls, chewing on a piece of straw from his farm? So I said, well, I'll tell you what, whether he's in coveralls, chewing on a thing of straw from his farm, or the CFO of a major Fortune 500 company, they order parts, they order equipment, they sponsor top-level teams.
And they need those parts there the next day.
And they need it there yesterday. That's what I said, they need it yesterday.
And they're not featherlight.
So,
you're talking parts that are going to weigh a lot of money.
So it took a while, so they sponsored a little bit on the B panel on a, back then, Nationwide car, Xfinity car. All of a sudden, they're getting some people want to buy UPS racing paraphernalia. They didn't have any. Then UPS's Air Hub, Louisville, Kentucky, is right next door to a Ford plant, which Robert Yates from Robert Yates Racing was involved with in getting engine parts to build his race motors. They sat down and they talked. They still weren't
100% sold.
They weren't sold. So what do? They go, and this is a true story, and I might have said this in my 9 years of doing the show. Buckshot Jones sends a proposal to UPS.
Buckshot Jones, yeah, that was the...
UPS looks at the proposal, says, oh, and he's going to have shirts and hats and jackets and more shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. Let's do this. Let's give him what he's asking for. So UPS signs the thing. He's got to send his back sign. One of the clauses was the deal is off, money's refunded for actions detrimental to UPS. So there's a person in the mailroom, gets a FedEx letter from Buckshot Jones Racing. His signed proposal. It went to the higher-ups.
At UPS.
At UPS.
From FedEx, delivered by FedEx.
They called them up. I don't know what the clause number was, but do you remember clause number 27? You just broke it. Now they're ready to back out. They go to Robert Yates. What are these guys, idiots? Wrights goes, listen, I got this guy who's going to drive for me, his former champion, Dale Jarrett. Give us a shot. He gave him a shot. Following year, 16 million. Following year, 18 million.
They were with that car how long?
I think it was 6 seasons.
Was
And then they
only
went to
six. It seemed like
Ruderman.
they were there forever.
Well, then they went to Ruderman for a while.
After that.
After that in the 44 car. So, and I could say this because I know I was there. For every dollar that UPS sponsored in NASCAR, they pocketed 3. Because they got a percentage of the merchandising, they got a percentage of other things that Dale Jarrett did, and their business just from NASCAR with suspension letters, licenses, stuff that they mail out to the competitors in the racetracks, all went UPS. And that was one of the best deals that UPS ever did. And they sponsored Atlanta Motor Speedway because their logo was at the end of pit road. So every time there's a caution, where are you looking? The end of pit road. So, you know, you look at these things, and sponsorship's big, and sometimes it's just creating an awareness. Then FedEx got involved, and some of the other trucking companies. And FedEx is still involved with Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing.
But they still don't see the value of a lot of these companies.
No.
It's amazing that just,
No.
you know, and it's not just a local guy. It's even the big companies.
Yes, yes.
You know, and it's the big companies who have the guy who specializes in this,
Yes.
in marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
And they don't see these values.
Yeah, so
So it's tough. It's tough for everybody on every level to get a sponsor.
it is. And sometimes the person making that decision, I call them the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
You can't get past the gatekeeper who knows nothing. You know, sometimes you can't get past the receptionist at the window when you walk
That's
in.
the gatekeeper.
You know,
You got to get to the person that's making the decision.
You know,
So that you can finally get a yes or a no. But that person who's making a yes or a no still has to know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah,
And
we
sometimes
used
they
to-
don't get it.
We used to say at UPS, you got to talk to the man. And MAN is an acronym. Money, answers, needs. You speak to the man, the guy that has the money, the guy that has the answers, and the guy that sees the need for his company, and you're golden. But it's a matter of talking to the man. And speaking of the man, Brett Moffitt has changed his championship declaration and has begun racing for Xfinity Series points. He had previously been declared for the Camping World Truck Series because, as many of you know or don't know, what was happening was that they called them the Bushwhackers, the Cup guys who ran the Bush Series, the Xfinity Series, and ran Truck Series were a little more experienced, had better equipment, and they were just taking it away. So NASCAR a few years back made it so that you had to declare your series. And you could race the other series. You'll get the payout. You won't get any points, so you're not taking points away from the regulars. So this guy had a good run at Talladega. He's got a good run in some other races, and he feels he has a better shot at making more points money in the next higher series.
Okay.
So good for Brett Moffitt.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have some sad news coming out of the NASCAR family when we come back.
Hey guys, this is Jibs from Ocean's 8, Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hi, I'm Remington.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back to the Kyle Busch autograph show. Apparently, everybody's liking Kyle Busch, right?
You know, I don't know. Today is one of those days. I'm forgetting stuff. I'm writing stuff down, not reading it. And
You know what that's called, right?
Old age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, do it before you forget, because another 2 seconds you're going to forget it.
I'm gonna. Well, during that last break, our director came out and said, "What about?" And I went, and then I'm looking through my notes, and I had it on the bottom. So
Good excuse.
What I forgot was the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Series was at the Stafford Motor Speedway for the annual Spring Sizzler. Patrick Emmerling, pictured in that picture, was the winner, with Erick Goodale, Long Islander, finishing second, Tommy Catalano third, Timmy Solomino fourth, Craig Lutz, who's starting to see his name a lot in the top five there, finishing fifth, John McKennedy sixth, Andrew Krause seventh, Chuck Hosfeld eighth, Ronnie Williams ninth, and Kyle Bonsignor rounding out the top 10. So the Wheel and Modified Tour, a lot of people say, wait a minute, I thought Stafford wasn't NASCAR. They're not. What Stafford signed was a one-event sanctioning agreement to get the tour in.
And that was it.
And that was it. Now, there is another race or two scheduled for Stafford. They will do the same thing. It's a one-day agreement that they signed. So it'll be interesting to see what 2022 brings. And Brian Danko, we mentioned him last week. He has a column in the Area Auto Racing News. He wrote about some stuff again. And what he said is the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Series used to be the hotbed of New England back in the day. And that day wasn't that far
That
off
was
ago.
the hot series.
You know, and last week we discussed the Thompson Motorsports Park turning to any other modified series but the Wheel and Modified Tour. Stafford Motor Speedway exiting NASCAR for its own series and point funds due to, I guess, broadcast rights on their televised races. And let's not forget the New England Waterford Speed Bowl, who no longer has races due to the track promoters' legal issues. Now, not that long ago, and I'm going to say 5, 6, 7 years ago, those three tracks together had 12 events. Stafford had 4, Thompson had 5. Waterford, New England Waterford Speedway had 2. Just in Connecticut. 12 races. Now, I was going through some old shirts and whatnot a few months back, and I found a NASCAR Wheeling Modified T-shirt that had the schedule on the back. And there were 23 races listed back there, 12 of which were at this racetrack, or these 3 racetracks.
Yeah.
And some of the tracks that were on that no longer exist, but what has become of that? What is, as Brian Danko was like, is NASCAR losing its luster where they're getting more fans in the seats to see the tri-track modified series?
Well, I don't want to bring it back to business again, but ultimately it's like we do in business here. I mean, ultimately we sit down and we look at all the numbers and then we say, what are the big numbers and what can we do to, if you're going to fix something, right, you fix the big problems first.
Yeah.
So you look at the big numbers and you say, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to fix this?
Right.
And when you look at that, you say, okay, NASCAR's a big number.
Yeah, absolutely.
What can we possibly do to fix this? We got to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things they're doing. They're looking at it and going, we got to talk about this.
Yep.
Hey, we do it with everything here. And I'll get pushback from this one or that one. They'll say, you're not going to get anything out of them.
No.
You know what? You would be surprised.
Yeah.
You call up, the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Exactly.
You call up and you say, hey, listen, what are we going to do here? I can't do this, so it's either you help me out or I'm going to have to leave it.
Yeah.
It's a take it or leave it thing. I'm going to have to leave it. So, you're going to have to help me out, and what can we do?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many people jump through some hoops to keep you there.
Yeah.
I don't know if NASCAR is the case. I don't know what they do, but the big numbers are big numbers. And if it's in a post-COVID world, if it's either you keeping the doors open or not, it's a big deal.
Right. Oh, without a doubt. And I was involved, and I sat in meetings, and I remember, and I think I mentioned this last week with Jimmy Hunter, who handled a lot of that stuff, with the weekly tracks and touring, and Ed Cox, who was the series director, and Jimmy Hunter said, how strong do you think your series is? And we're both sitting there, we're prime poppers, right? We're pretty strong. Not when almost half of your races are at 3 racetracks. When they pull out, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. And there's only like 14, I believe 14, maybe 15, correct me if I'm wrong, races on the tour, which now has opened the door to other modified touring series, which pay a lot more money and it costs a lot less to get in.
Right. Well, that's somebody was asleep at the wheel to let those 3 tracks take so much, because now there's bargaining power there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where if they do pull out, you're in trouble. Absolutely. And that's not something that you really want to put out there. And maybe you do it for a year or 2, but you better make sure you get on somebody else to try to diverse a little bit and break that up, because that's exactly what's going to happen. It could kill it. I don't think it'll ever kill a series. I think that what they're going to do is they'll do the one-off races like you talked about at Stafford, but they might even open up other modified, it might not be a points thing for NASCAR, but they'll open up other modified races where the tour modifieds will qualify as well, where they can all be together.
Right.
And they'll just put up a nice purse.
Yeah.
Like the icebreaker.
Exactly.
Where they'll put up a nice purse, and if you got a tour modified, bring it.
They had
If
the
you got
open
this one,
modifieds,
the open
10,000 to win.
modifieds, right? 10,000 to win. And they'll just do it that way, because ultimately, it really does put more money in the driver's hands and the crew member's hands and the team owner. When, even on that level, we both know, and all our listeners do as well, because we've talked about it, that they still pay to play. Guy wins the championship, and it still had to pull $150,000 out of his pocket to make it happen.
It's funny.
And that's a shame.
The last modified tour banquet I went to, or maybe the second to last, Erick Sanderson with the Flamingo Motorsports won the championship. And I was joking around with him that night in one of the hospitality rooms. I was like, I guess you need an armored car to get this money out of here that you took home tonight. He goes, I'm going to be honest with you. It cost me $300,000 to win this championship. and tonight I'm walking out of here with 102. I lost $250,000 having fun. Now he's in a position where he could do that, but when you think about that, at the highest levels, it's the same. It's just that the numbers have more zeros at the end.
They have more zeros at the end, and it might break a little even closer.
Right.
But I think what happens is they're taking those numbers and rolling them back over.
Right.
It's almost like a construction guy who
Right.
uses the money from the last job to pay.
Get the,
Get the new job and pay for the last job, and get
Yep.
the new job and pay for the next job, and it going hand to mouth. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's not easy, and that's why one of the things that I was proud of the last couple of years I raced, I made money for racing, even with my accidents and anything else I had to fix.
Yep.
I actually came out with a positive number.
Right.
And my accountant's like, well, that's not good, because he does a lot of other race car drivers too. So I hear from him. He goes, this isn't a moneymaker, right? I says, you're just doing it for the sport. I said, I'm just doing it for the sport.
Yeah, nah.
But it's, so he knows, and it's what it is. It's sad but true.
It is. And speaking of sad, the NASCAR family lost another member this past weekend. In fact, former NASCAR driver Erick McLure died yesterday of unknown causes. McLure last raced in 2016 in the Xfinity Series. He was only 42 years old. In 2013, McLure was diagnosed with acute renal failure. In 2019, he revealed that he was being treated for kidney failure. So his family has not, in social media, listed his cause of death. He died yesterday. But we can only guess it had to do with his kidneys and
His
whatnot.
condition, his body shutting down. That's too young, boy.
Our prayers go out to the McLure
Absolutely.
family.
Our thoughts and prayers to them for sure.
He was one of those races. He went and raced. And was he winning races? No, but he was there every week and he was putting on a good show. So the family is part of the Morgan McLure race operations, and he will be missed. Anytime we lose a family member in our racing family, it's a tough one. So
Absolutely.
So it's
That's a sad time.
It is. And we got a little release here from somebody today. A local New Yorker continues to get bigger. A few years ago, a Long Island racer turned the controls over to a talented young driver in his race car because he just wasn't making it happen. And then an opportunity arose after that, an opportunity to compete in the Wheeling Modified Touring Series. And then an opportunity down south came to be, and Visconti Motorsports borrowed a small corner in Tom Baldwin Racing's shop with one car and a volunteer crew. Now, Visconti Motorsports owns a race shop in Mooresville, North Carolina, where a Camping World truck driver is borrowing a corner in his shop. Toyota came on board. Now they have 5 cars, and they are fabricating track-specific cars. They are currently third in the points, with Mason Diaz as the driver, competing with race teams owned by DGR, which is driven by Haley Deegan, Gillian Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, and GMS. They also have picked up some marketing partners such as Mulch Mate, Balmer Eyewear, who's around for the second season, and Mechanics Wear. So you see the Mechanics Wear with the gloves and the aprons and whatnot. So a local guy is chasing a dream.
Doing good, yeah.
He's doing very good there. And I'll tell you what,
and he's with another local guy, Tom Baldwin's
Tom
working
Baldwin
with him.
out of Long Island.
And they're trying to make it happen. That's
trying to
a great
make
thing.
it happen. And JV John Visconti, his father, Cookie Visconti, was one of the first drivers in the weekly racing series, or whatever it was called back in the 60s, to bring corporate sponsorship to racing with his AMSOIL car, immaculately prepared cars. So this team is doing what Dad started. Professional, make it happen, keep your mouth shut, let the race driver on the track show you what they got. And they, if not for some tough breaks, they would have won. They could have won New Smyrna watching that race, and then the last race they did very well is good. So, and hey, Mike Busker Gravel, they are making it happen. So
Yeah.
it's a good deal. Again, I've been personal friends with the Visconti family for quite some time. And I remember when he made this move, we announced it here.
Good friends of the show.
Good friends of the show. We announced it here, and I got beat up on social media, in emails, text messages, that it was a bunch of hogwash. This wasn't going to happen. So of course, I had to call him up. John, I'm getting beat up here by people, not physically, but, and he says, I guess they're jealous. So when this all comes to be, I guess, we could laugh at them. But over time, his dissenters not only have changed their ways, but they've gone on to help some.
Well, we all got to be cheerleaders. I mean, because all we're looking to do is have, give everybody a hand up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If one person, helps another person, well, that's what we're doing. We're helping everybody.
Yeah,
and what I mean? But it's got to be one hand washes the other thing. I mean,
And I know on Monday nights when I'm driving home or the next morning, I'll get a text from JV, nice show, because they stop what they're doing.
To watch the show.
To watch the show. I can't thank you enough. I really can't. And again, he's one of those guys, his father, Cookie, I know his father, when I had my foot operated on 2017, his father called me every day. Every day. What do you need? Not that he could help me because he was in the same shape I was, but what do you need? What can I get you? I'll send one of my boys over, which meant JV or Michael. But
he was he asked, and that's the important part.
Exactly. So, I continued success to Visconti Motorsports, who, by the way, is the listed team owner is Marie Visconti, who is always watching our show, whether she's down in the shop in North Carolina or home up here in New York. So thank you for that, for your support and spreading the word there in that industrial park in Mooresville.
That's it.
What we're doing. So
that's good. Yeah, we have a lot of people that watch the show from down there. And when I look at the numbers afterwards and where the people are from, it's amazing to see that we got a good whole East Coast thing going on, but they're all over the United States and around the world for that matter. We had a couple of people from India. Remember the one guy was watching from India at one time?
Yep.
And he was just having a blast watching the Americans be silly, I guess. So
the shop manager down at Visconti Motorsports.
And Marie says, yes, I'm watching.
Yes, she is. The shop manager, he's not a happy camper now because he's going to hang JV because JV had him all stop working to
watch the
show. So, don't thank us. We thank you for supporting us and for getting your guys to watch the show.
And we can't say enough. I mean, when our guys go up to the big series, it's something that we all get behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember from when I even started racing, it was a big deal.
Yeah,
One of our own went up there, and it was like, that was a hero to us.
Yes. And that's what this is all about. And we all have dreams. And from the first time we strap into our race cars and start building them and go race them, we say to ourselves, I'd love to run Daytona. I'd love to run Talladega.
Of course you do. You do that before you even buy the car. But when you see one of your own doing it, I mean, I remember, for the life of me, it'll come to me, and as soon as I say it, you'll probably know. But there was one guy we looked up to as a hero. He was a late model driver. He used to drive the
Ron Thiel.
See, I didn't even get to say Levitz, but it was Ron Thiel, exactly. Now, Ron Thiel, I think Ron Thiel's father built my first car because my first car was track champion at Freeport Speedway.
Wow.
And lapped the field at the Race of Champions at Pocono with my car. Ron Thiel used to drive my car.
Yeah.
So when he had the Levitz car and he came with the big trailer and he was going Bush North, that was a big deal. That was like, it was like,
that's our guy.
That's our guy. He can do that.
Yeah.
We could do that too, maybe,
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
And you look at a lot of guys from Long Island. Mike Wheeler, longtime crew chief for Roger Roxy, another good friend of our show. went up and made big. There's so many. You know, your friend John Farino, right?
John Farino that worked on my car. He's on Denny Hamlin's car. They won 2 Daytona 500s.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything about racing when he came to me.
Yeah.
He's like, "Will you teach me about racing?" I said, "Sure." And he was been on Denny Hamlin's car since.
Yeah. You know, Tony Urbina, late model driver here on Long Island, and, you know, down at Penske. You know, Frank Bonsignor, you know, down at, you know.
Tommy Ryan.
Tommy Ryan. I mean, so many came out of Long Island.
And those guys like Visconti, they're heroes to all the local guys here.
Yeah.
That's you know, that shows that, hey, you know, it's possible. We can maybe we can do this. You know?
And Brian Cicella, he drove 2 of my race cars not too many years back. He said Cookie Visconti and Buzzy Erickson were his heroes and reasons that he got into
Erickson,
racing.
yeah.
You know, you know, Gravel. Cookie taught Cookie. I almost said something. Gravel, you know, you're my buddy. Taught him how to be with the fans. I was gonna say taught you how to crash, but Cookie didn't crash much.
Not if you wanted to. Not if you had to fix it.
Nope. But you know, you look at, like I said, and we're a New York-based show, so of course our favoritisms and loyalties lie with guys that we raced with. And
but you know what? It's funny how that happens, because I've said this story before where you know, I went down to Charlotte to try it was a Busch car at the time, but they were calling it the Sportsman division. And Jimmy Spencer was driving by, and he asked me a question. We were in the middle of Charlotte, and he was driving by, and he asked me, you know, something, whatever it was, and I answered him. And he goes, "You're not from around here, are you?" He goes, "You're a Yankee like me." And he knew right away we were going to have trouble down in North Carolina with if you were a Yankee. Because, I mean, you know, he was one of the first guys, right?
Yeah. You know, so, you know, when you hear stuff like this, and I'll tell you what, if you got a sweet story about your team, let us know. Let us know. We'll work something out for you, because that's what we do. We're here to promote racing. We're here to talk racing. And we have fun doing it. We have a lot of fun doing it. I think I had a lot more fun racing. But then again, this, you know, at the end of the day,
it wasn't the racing, it was the fixing.
Yeah, I'm not fixing my sneaker or my pen after the show. We did have to fix a microphone, though, that I broke in half, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, no, early on?
Early on, at
oh, that microphone running
New
across
Egypt.
the track?
Yeah, New Egypt. Yeah.
Well, that's why I gave you the cheap one. I knew that wasn't going to make it.
I'm on the infield. I got to get to the pit area. So they're like, all right, go ahead. Next thing I know, they're coming out at 3. I'm crossing the track at 4. I'm running. The microphone drops. And all of a sudden, all the cars go by, and one half of the microphone is at the wall. The other half of the microphone is on the infield.
But here's a question now you guys can respond in the chat. If I gave you a wireless mic that's that big, okay, would you put it in your back pocket and not hold on to it and then run across the track? Just a question. Is that common sense? Does that tell you, I might not drop this if I put it in my back pocket? With it hanging out?
I tried to fix it. I tried to put it back together.
That's why I bought him a cheap mic and gave it to him, because I knew between him and his partner there in crime.
Yeah, my partner in crime goes,
never going to make it back.
We could get it back together. When we give it back to Chuck, he'll go, what the heck? Oh, it worked when we used it. I said, I can't do that to Chuck. Yeah, it was just better to tell the truth. Yeah, I was running across the track and fell.
That's why I didn't give you the $1,000 mic.
Yeah, imagine.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine.
Oh, that's Brian Cicella. Dapo, I remember Dapo. For those who don't remember Dapo, Drivers Against Poor Officiating, they had a banner circling a Long Island racetrack. Guys had it on the back of the car, and we had shirts made up. And I remember the PR guy came up. You know, if you guys, you know, you think you're gonna make any friends wearing those shirts, it ain't happening. So we're not looking to make friends. We just want to be treated fairly. Dapo, Drivers Against Poor Officiating. Late model driver Mike Mortimer had an aerial sign company sponsor him. It was on flying around the track in a banner. Dapo. Oh, the good old days. Anyway, I think we're out of time. Oh, I got the big yes. I mean, it's way over.
Yeah, we're 6 hours over. You know, we're just going to keep going until next Monday rolls around.
Remember when it was 2 hours? Anyway.
I do remember when it was 2 hours.
Yes. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy schedules. And Darlington this weekend for the top series. And support your local racetrack if you can get in with the new guidelines. And whatever you're going to do this week, be safe, be careful, and don't forget to wish your mother a happy Mother's Day.
That's right. It's Mother's Day already, Sunday,
Mother's Day already.
It's the big day.
The big day. So there's no racing on. Go visit your mother. Call her up if she lives too far. And if your mother's no longer with us, go to the site, have a little chat. They're listening.
Maybe we'll have a Mother's Day show on Monday. What do you
There
think?
you go.
You guys can
There you go.
send us pictures of you with your mother. And
Exactly.
we'll put them up.
Exactly. And I'll post it on our site so that people don't forget. Post a picture of you and your mother.
You know, hey, let's treat your mother like a superstar. What do you
Yeah.
think?
And Gravel, I got a picture of your mother
Uh-oh,
and
I don't want to know that.
with Cookie. So
Really? That's a good picture right there.
Yeah, he's photobombed it, but that's all right. I'm still in it.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day, guys. Be safe.